Welcome everybody to our Wednesday night shiur. We're back after Pesach, and we're in the Yemei Sefrat OMER, very holy days. The Ramban, Nachman Ari, says that the days of Sefrat OMER have the same holiness as Chol HaMoed. So basically, it's like we're in one huge long holiday, from the beginning of Pesach till the end of Shavuot. We're like in one holiday. In fact, the Shulchan Aruch says that the minhag is that women shouldn't work for the first half an hour right after sunset. That's the time when you're supposed to say the Sefrat OMER. Because that time when we say the Sefrat OMER is a certain kind of Kedusha. And as the Mekubalim bring down, it's written down in Shar Kavanot, that in the time of Sefrat OMER, it's big days to pray to Hashem to answer all your wishes, especially in the time of Sefrat OMER itself. It's a very big Et Ratzon. And as the Rashash brings down in R.Shalom, that there is no Kavanot. The Mekubalim have no kavanot during Sefrat OMER. That's why if you go to any Yeshivat Mekubalim, you go to Yerushalayim, Yeshivat R.Shalom, Bet El, all the Shar Shamayim, Sefrat OMER, their Shmonai, and during Sefrat OMER, all their Shmonai Yisraels are like a rocket. But the Sefrat OMER itself, an hour. The Baba Sali used to take 3 hours to Sefrat OMER. 3 hours. And this is his son-in-law, Rabbi David Yehudayov used to say, Makor Ne'eman. He used to, an hour before Sefrat OMER, he used to prepare himself, go to the mikveh. He used to do hitbodedut beforehand. It's a very holy moment. Then he used to, for an hour, say the actual sfirah, and then for another hour afterwards, he used to pray for people who need yeshuot. He used to pray for people who need salvations. He used to have a list of people. He used to say their names. So Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, it's a very good minhag to do. A person who needs a Yeshua, he needs rachamim, he needs a salvation, refuah shlema. After the Sfirat HaOmer, you should take time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, to pray for himself, for his family. Like we just read in the Gemara over here, before we started the shiur, we had a little mini shiur beforehand. If a person loves his neighbors, and he makes his neighbors closer to Hashem, what does it mean, his neighbors? Not just his neighbor, but his relatives. As tikra v'Hashem ya'aneh. This kind of person, he prays before he even finishes praying. His tefillah already is answered by Hashem. Okay? So, we want to delve deep into the secret of Sefrat OMER. We want to a little bit find out the secret behind it. And most importantly, just move up guys a bit. Most importantly, we want to delve into the secret of the death of the 12,000 pairs of students of Rabbi AKIVA. Tragic death. And we want to read it inside from the Gemara itself. We want to know what the Gemara has to say about this. And there's many chidushim, many things that were novel ideas. We want to try to see what does the Ari HaKadosh say about this and what does that have to do with us. So before that, the Gemara in Masechet Yibamot, the Samech Bet, says, Amar Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Yoshua says, Nasa Adam Isha B'Yalduto. A person gets married when he was young. When you're young, he got married. Isa Isha B'Ziknuto, and Chas v'Shalom, he becomes a widow, or something happened, there was a separation, Chas v'Shalom. He should never stay alone. He should get remarried right away. Nasa Isha Adam Isha B'Yalduto, Isa B'Ziknuto. Don't think just because you're 60, 70 years old that I did my job. I don't need another, I don't want to say the word, but I don't need another, so, doesn't matter. The Gemara says, you got married when you were young, you have to get married when you're old. That's why the great Chachamim, for example, my Rosh Hashiva, when I was in Chafetz Chaim, he was like 70 years old, and we went to his second wedding. His wife passed away, and they made a second wedding for him.
After three...
After what? After 3 regalim, obviously.
It's like a year.
Whatever the case is, his wife passed away, they got married. Yeah? And many also Chachamim, like Chacham Menachem Menashe, one of the great Amid Tzadikim, right away his wife passed away. Right after that, He waited the time he was supposed to wait, and he got remarried. A man should never stay alone. Hayulo banim biyalduto. A person had kids when he's young. Yelo banim beziknuto. A person has to have kids when he is old. That's the halakha. From here we learn that zaken means till the end of your life. You have to always try to have kids. That's why, according to the rabbis, to go on birth control or these kind of stuff, it's a very big problem. Because from the woman's side, it's not a problem. She's not obligated to have kids. From the man's side, it's a big problem, right? He's always obligated to have kids. He had kids when he was young. He has to have kids when he's old. Gemara. So he brings down a pasuk to prove his point, Rabbi Yeshua. In the morning, sow your seed. And in the evening, don't stop. Shlomo HaMelech said this pasuk. What does that basically mean? He's basically saying the kids that you have when you're younger, they're the kids that you have when you're young, but they're not really the ones you have later on in your life. Those are the ones that come out tzaddikim. Right? The less Yetzer Hara you have when you have your kids, the more spiritual they are, the more closer to Hashem, the more easier it is to put them in the right path. The ones when you have when you were younger, of course, this is not an ironclad law, but this is it's an obvious thing. Okay? So he says over here, Rabbi Yeshua explains, you don't know. You don't know which one of the kids are going to be good. Chas v'shalom. There's many kids who go up there. Chas v'shalom, chas v'chalila. But it says over here, he says, just as an insurance policy, don't stop having kids. Have kids also when you're young. Oh, when you're old, I'm sorry. Continuing, Rabbi AKIVA, who was the student of Rabbi Yeshua, right, as the Gemara says, how do we know Rabbi AKIVA was a student of Rabbi Yeshua? We always think that Rabbi AKIVA was just a student of who? Rabbi Eliezer, Hagadol, right? How do we know Rabbi AKIVA was a student of Rabbi Yeshua? There's a Gemara. The Gemara says that Rabbi AKIVA, when he was a young boy, not a young boy, he was over the age of 40, he went to Yerushalayim, he dropped everything. We know he was a shepherd. And he went to learn by the great rabbis. His main Rebbe was Rabbi Eliezer, but later on he also became the student of Rabbi Yeshua. How do we know? One day he was walking in the road and he sees a dead guy in the field. Okay? And he said, I have a perfect opportunity right now to do the mitzvah of mitzvah, to bury a person who doesn't have anybody to bury him. It's a met mitzvah, even Kohen Gadol has to be metameh to this kind of person. So what did he do? He didn't know that a person has to bury a met mitzvah on the spot. That means you got to dig the ground right there and bury him right there. What did he do? He picked up the dead body on his shoulder. He must have been a very strong man, because when a person passes away, his body becomes even heavier. You understand? So he takes the body and he carries him a very long way distance until he gets to the cemetery, and he buries him over there. Rabbi AKIVA, well, he wasn't Rabbi AKIVA back then. He was just AKIVA. He goes back to the yeshiva and he sees his Rebbes. The Gemara says Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. And he tells them, you know what kind of mitzvah I did? I just buried a met mitzvah. So you know what they told him? They told him, for every step that you took, you're chayav mitah. You're liable for the death penalty. To move a met mitzvah from his spot, every step, you're chayav the death penalty. Wow, so imagine how many death penalties he was chayav, Rabbi AKIVA.
Maybe he didn't have a shovel, you know.
He was supposed to go get the shovel, come back, shovel, and bury him.
How about a person who drowned in the water? Let's hypothetically.
A person drowned in the water. You're not going to bury him in the water. You have to bury him. And in that case, obviously, take him to a cemetery, because the water. I mean, if you get him, obviously. You know.
But today we transfer the body back and forth.
Transfer the body. Why? You're asking a very good question. That's in Ilchot Avelut, in the Shulchan Aruch. It says the Shulchan Aruch brings in the name of the Rashal. The Rashal says, because we live in a place that the property doesn't belong to us, it belongs to the government, especially if you live chutz la'aretz, where it's owned by the goyim, you can't just bury people where it is. The goyim are gonna go after you, right? You can't just bury people in the middle of the street. Am I right or wrong? So what do? In that case, you have permission to bury him in the cemetery. But back in the day, when they were in Eretz Yisrael and the land was hefker, then you were supposed to bury the dead, the met mitzvah, wherever he is. There's a halachot over there. Let's say you found him in the road, you can't bury him in the road because people have to walk over there. There's many laws, but Rabbi AKIVA found him in the field, in an open field, so he was allowed to bury him over there. Okay? So over here we have Rabbi AKIVA, he's arguing on his Rebbe. Why? The Gemara says that Rabbi AKIVA got to such a spiritual level that he surpassed his Rebbes. He surpassed Rabbi Eliezer, he surpassed Rabbi Yeshua, to the point that if he argues with either of them in halakha, who's the halakha like? Rabbi Akiva. Not like Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. It's unbelievable. And very interesting also, the Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva died a very horrible death. His skin was ripped out of from his face with an iron comb. Very, very terrible death. And the reason why he died such a terrible death, the Gemara says that his Rebbe, Rabbi Eliezer, kind of cursed him. Why? Because Rabbi Eliezer, he had a whole machloket with the other rabbis, and they excommunicated him. And obviously when you excommunicate somebody, you're not allowed to have any business with him, you can't talk to him, you can't even stay within 4 amot. He has to be away from the world until the rabbis could overcome their excommunication. In his case, Rabbi Eliezer, he was in excommunication until he died. He was a shamoti. That means you can't have any form of contact with him.
And he was a big Rebbe.
He was not just a big, he was Rabbi Eliezer Hagadol. And what happens? On the day that he dies, Rabbi Akiva and all the students came to visit him right before he dies. When he came to visit him, he said, because you guys didn't come to me to learn Torah, and I have so much Torah to teach you guys, that the Torah I learned from my Rebbe was like a dog licking water from the ocean. And the Torah that you guys got from me was not even a drop into the ocean. There's so much Torah I could have given you guys, and you guys didn't come and learn from me Torah.
They didn't allow though, right?
It wasn't allowed.
Right.
But still, they should have found a way to break the excommunication for the sake of the Torah. Rabbi Shlakish says sometimes breaking the Torah is actually fulfilling the Torah. Bitula zoi kiyuma. Sometimes breaking it is keeping it. In this case, he told Rabbi Akiva, your death is going to be worse than all of theirs. All of you guys are going to have a horrible death. Rabbi Akiva, yours is going to be the worst. He said, why? He says, you were my pupil. You were my student. You were supposed to be like the chosen one. He was the Rabbi Akiva. He got to such a level that he surpassed his Rebbes. That the halakha is always like him. And we're going to see over here that not only is halakha always like him, but all of Kabbalah, Rabbi Akiva is the father of. All of the Agadah, Rabbi Akiva is the father of. Rabbi Akiva is the father of all of our Torah. And it's very, very fitting that we, during these days between Pesach and Shavuot, Atzeret, we have this interval called Sfrat OMER, which is like Chol HaMoed, and we talk about Rabbi Akiva only, because Rabbi Akiva is Torah. Amen. He is the father of the Torah. He upheld the Torah. And he was, just to give you guys in the context, he was a ger. He was not a ger, he was the son of gerim. He didn't come from any big background. He wasn't really special. He started learning Torah at the age of 40, which is a very big shame to people that they're 25, 30 years old, and you tell them, learn how to read Hebrew. He said, I'm already 40, 50, 60 years old. I can't learn how to read Hebrew. Rabbi Akiva became the father of Torah, and he started only at the age of 40. The Midrash says he went to learn with his son. He had a small boy, and he went to learn with him Aleph Bet inside kindergarten. And his son used to tell him, Abba, don't come with me, you're embarrassing me. I'm saying Aleph Bet with all the kids, and you're saying Aleph Bet with us? A grown man with a beard, with a white beard? Come on, hire yourself. He said, no, I want to get embarrassed. I want to learn Torah. I want to break myself. Rabbi Akiva was a very high neshama. And we're going to, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to see the connection between Rabbi Akiva, Rav Chaim Vital, who's the writer of all the Etz HaChaim, which he was taught by the Ari HaKadosh, and the connection between the sons of Aaron HaKohen, which this week's parasha is Shmini, Nadav, and Avihu. Bezrat Hashem Yitbarach. And also the connection between Rabbi Akiva and Yisachar, the son of Yaakov Avinu, and also the connection between Rabbi Akiva and Yaakov Avinu. Akiva and Yaakov is the same thing. Yeah. It just, the question is where you put the Yud. Akiva, the Yud is at the end. Yaakov, the Yud is where? In the front. And the Ari HaKadosh says that they're the same person. Rabbi Akiva and Yaakov Avinu. That's why they both made the same mistake. They both made the mistake of when Mashiach was supposed to come. Yaakov thought Shimshon was Mashiach from the tribe of Dan, and Rabbi Akiva thought Bar Koziva was Mashiach in Beitar. And they both made a terrible mistake, the Ari HaKadosh says. But continuing from inside the Gemara,
do we know anything about his son?
His son, he had 3 sons, from what we know in the Gemara. 2 of them died when they were young, and one of them is the famous Rabbi Yoshua, that he named after his Rebbe, obviously, but not this Rabbi Yoshua, his Rebbe. He was a younger Rabbi Yehoshua. Some say he was Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha. Why ben Korcha? Korcha means bold. And Rabbi Akiva, the Gemara says, was a bold man. He was a hairless person.
Rabbi Akiva?
Yes, he was bold. He didn't have hair. He had very little hair. Yeah, it was almost like he had very small, if you could imagine him, I don't know if you could, but no hair on the head. Nothing. That's how. So they said, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha is his son. Why? Because what does it mean? Rabbi Yehoshua, the son of the bold one.
Why would they give names like that?
That's what they gave him. But the funny thing is, the Ari Kadosh says that I saw Rabbi Yehoshua ben Korcha and I saw Rabbi Yehoshua, the son of Rabbi Akiva. They're not the same person. So he argues on this Rashi. It's a Rashi. So Rabbi Akiva says, no. The pasuk that says, in the evening sow your seed, and in the morning, in the morning sow your seed, and in the evening don't stop. It's not talking about having kids. It's not talking about having kids. I disagree with you, my Rebbe. What is it talking about? Lamad Torah beyalduto. A person learned a lot of Torah when he was young. He went to yeshiva gadola. He went to Israel for yeshiva. He learned Torah afterwards. Yilmod Torah beziknuto. You should learn Torah also when he's old, says Rabbi Akiva. It's nothing to do with kids. I disagree with you, he says. Hayulo talmidim beyalduto. If you had a lot of students when you were younger, yulo talmidim beziknuto. You should have a lot of kids. You should have a lot of talmidim, students, when you're old. Shneemar baboker zra et zarecha. So Rabbi Akiva says no. Rabbi Yehoshua, with all due respect, my Rabbi, I disagree. You're talking about kids. I'm talking about students. Students are the greatest kids. Okay, as we see in the Torah, the dissemination of the Torah was not from father to son. It's always from Rebbe to student. So Rabbi Akiva says, if you have students when you're young, have students when you're old. Funny, in this specific halakha, in this specific case, the halakha is not like Rabbi Akiva, it's like Rabbi Yehoshua. The Gemara is going to pass me at the end. It's one of the couple of places that the halakha is not like Rabbi Akiva when it's against Rabbi Yehoshua. Then the Gemara is going to go on and saying, how come Rabbi Akiva said what he said? How come he disagreed with his Rebbe? The Gemara says, Amru, they said. The Gemara is written much later, right? This is already the insertion of Rabin and Ravashi. Amru, they said, Shneim asar elef zugim talmidim. 12,000 pairs. Could you imagine a yeshiva with 12,000 chavrutas? We go to a yeshiva today with 100 kids. They can't even have chavrutas over there. I don't get along with this guy. I don't get along with that guy. This one learns alone. 12,000 chavrutas.
Pairs.
24,000.
Zugot. Pairs. That means like husband and wife. What do you call husband and wife? Zug. Zug. But zug. 12,000 zugot. The Gemara specifically points that out. They were pairs. Seemingly they were buddies. I mean, how are you going to have a yeshiva with 12,000 pairs if they didn't get along, right? Talmidim, students, hayulo Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva had. Migevat v'ad Antiperas. From two cities, that means he had such a big yeshiva, his students spanned from a place in Israel called Givat to Antiperas. That means Israel, the Am Yisrael learned Torah from who? Rabbi Akiva students. V'kulan metu b'perek echad, and they all died in the same time. In the same period of time. When? First of all, why? Mipnei shelo nahagu kavod ze lazeh. They didn't respect one another. What's kavod? Kavod is respect. They didn't treat each other the way Talmidei Chachamim are supposed to treat one another.
How are Havrutas not respecting each other?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll strengthen your question, Daniel. You know, not only is it funny that specifically the 12,000 students of Rabbi Akiva were the ones who fell prey to this. I mean, we're not gonna say that we're reading the Gemara over here. This is not some midrash, even though I'm not saying midrash is any less of a level. I'm just saying this is a Gemara. And the rabbi who says "Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha ze klal gadol b'Torah" is who? Who's the rabbi who said that?
Right, Akiva.
Rabbi Akiva. You're telling me that the Rebbe wasn't able. So what kind of Rebbe was he? He couldn't influence his own. This is his saying. That means they even made a song out of it. the saying in the Gemara, "Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha," is a klal gadol b'Torah. Is Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva couldn't teach his students this. So what kind of students he had? Doesn't make sense. Not only that, he's a Tanaim. It's not Amoraim. I mean, if you look at the Amoraim in the Gemara, these guys used to burn each other with their eyes. One person made something not to the other person's liking. Right away, look at him. That's Vidanya. Dead. Rabbi Yochanan kills Rish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan kills Rav Kahana. This one, Rav. One time, the Gemara says, "Look at this. Look at it, Rav." The first generation of Amoraim, which was also a quasi Tana, was Rav, Rabbi Abba Arichta. Once Rav, he moved. He made Yerida, not Aliyah. He made Yerida. Instead of going to Eretz Yisrael, he moved from Eretz Yisrael to Babel, Chutz La'aretz. He moved out. And he was coming to the shores of Neherda. That's a city, a port city in Babylon. He was getting over there with a ship, and Shmuel, which was the rabbi in Babel, Shmuel, I spoke about him many times. He's a very, very important. No, Shmuel the Amora, Shmuel the rabbi in the Gemara. Shmuel is a very, very important character in the. I won't call him a character. He was a very important rabbi in the Gemara. Half of the Gemara is paskin based on Shmuel. The other half, like Rav. So Shmuel was such a smart guy, smart rabbi. He was able to tell from the water, from the way the water moves, which kind of boat is coming to shore, and what kind of people are on that boat. He was able to read the water. It's great, and it wasn't some kind of magical thing. It was scientific. He was an astronomer. He was a scientific kind of guy. And he told his student. He had a student. I forget his name. It's a very weird name, like Karna. Oh, I remember. His name was Karna. He was a Dayan. A judge, a Jewish judge, very high level. So Shmuel and Karna are both standing on the banks of the Nehar Da'at, and they feel that a ship is coming. And Shmuel says a very big rabbi is on this ship, and he suffers from, excuse me for my French, from diarrhea. He has problem with his bnei me'ayim. He has bowel problems. So he told Karna, I have to go to the Beit Midrash. When this rabbi is going to come off the ship, you're going to tell who he is right away. How? He's a very tall guy. Very tall. And that's what his name was. His klishira was Rabbi Abba Arichta. What's Arichta? The tall one. He was the tall one. Some say he was the nitzotz of Shaul HaMelech. Shaul was also very tall. So he says, when he comes, feed him a lot of dates and prunes, stuff that make you want to go more. And don't tell him where the bathroom is. Make him hold it in. Only when you see like his face is turning red and blue and he's about to explode in his pants, show him where it's a true story. Show him where the bathroom is. Shmuel himself didn't do it. He told Kar not to do it, the Dayan. So Rav comes down and really he took him into his house, he fed him the food, and suddenly he's like, do you know where the bathroom is? I need to go. He's like, yeah, it's down the, you know how Israelis do in Israel. Go straight. You're going to find the bathroom. And he's going Yashar. He doesn't know that. He goes like, where's the bathroom? Oh, it's Yashar this way. No, this way. Suddenly he's about to explode. Oh, here's the bathroom. It's right in front of your eyes. Goes, and he said to you, what's your name? He says, Karna. He says, may it be Hashem's will, just like you made me suffer right now. What does Karna mean? A horn. May a horn come out of your eye.
Oh my God.
The Gemara says,
Special blessing?
a special curse. And the Gemara says out of his eye, of Karna, came out like a, it's like a disease, like a piece of skin started coming out of his eye.
Wow.
And like this he was to the end of his life. And he didn't do anything bad, he was trying to cure him. Because that was his cure. Shmuel was a doctor. And then, Rav said, the person who did this to me, may all of his sons die. He felt so hurt. He felt so hurt and embarrassed. He cursed the person who did this to him. And who was the guy who did it to him? Shmuel, who's going to eventually be his best friend. And what happened to Shmuel's sons? They all died. And he never had any sons for the rest of his life. He only had daughters. And even his daughters were captured by Goyim. There was a whole story over there too. And what was Shmuel trying to do? He was trying to help him out, but he didn't tell him, because if he would have told him, it would have defeated the purpose. So this is what I call rabbis who don't respect. Excuse our language, we're trying to learn over here. Rabbis who don't respect each other. But how do we have any proof that the students are Rabbi Akiva to one another? In fact, the Gemara, like Daniel said, They're Tanaim, and they were pairs. They all had Chavrutas. Chavrutas don't fight with one another. I mean, they fight. I mean, you go to Lakewood, you go to any yeshiva. When you go to the yeshiva, if they're really steiging, or you feel like one Chavruta wants to smack the other one, right? But that's Torah. Torah is fire. When you learn Torah, you're trying to get to the truth. You don't get to the truth by singing Kumbaya and going in a circle. You get to the truth through fire, right? The Torah is called Esh Dat Lamo. Torah is fire. You understand? But after the whole fight, I mean, they're obviously friends. They eat together. They're in the same dorm room. They give each other, even Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, which the Gemara says that Beit Shammai used to fight Beit Hillel so much in Halakha that the Beit Hillel felt like miskenim. They couldn't even open their mouths. You understand? Even then, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, they used to marry each other's sisters, wives. They were friendly with one another. Tanaim, but Amoraim on the other hand, every other thing in the Gemara. This one hurt this one's feelings. This one to that one. They're supposed to be the ones to pass away during the OMER time. What is this Tanaim? Why are they passing away? In fact, I'll strengthen the question even more. Rabbi, there is a special prayer to say before you go inside to learn Torah. It's called Tfilat Rabbi Nechunya ben Hakaneh. There's a special prayer at the beginning of every book. I mean, it's not in this one for some reason, but there's a special prayer. May Hashem bless us that when we learn Torah, may we not make a mistake, and may we not put our friends down. And who wrote it? A Tana. Rabbi Akiva's Rebbe's Rebbe, Rabbi Nechunya ben Hakaneh. You're telling me these rabbis didn't read that prayer?
They didn't listen.
I mean, they didn't listen. How could you say that? They're Tanaim. They're Chazakim. They're strong. These Tanaim, Amoraim, they were big. They were very big. The writers of the Gemara are big. They had special powers. But at Tanaim, it's a different level. It's a different level. These guys can do Tchiyat HaMetim. You know what Tchiyat HaMetim is? Resurrection of the dead. The Gemara says that they were Tanaim. They didn't have food to eat. Every Erev Shabbat, a Tana used to take out a Sefer Yetzirah, written by Avraham Avinu, say some Shemot. He used to create a calf. And he used to make ala esh just for Shabbat. Who needs to go to the supermarket? Who needs to go to bingo? With their big meat section over there. You have a Sefer Yetzirah? Could you imagine? So how come this happened to them, Rabotai? The Gemara continues. They didn't give kavod to one another. And the Gemara points out something interesting. V'haya ha'olam shamim, the world turned black. The world turned empty. It was as if there was no more rabbis left. The rabbis became extinct. Could you imagine over 750 levayot? Levayot. A day. And who's getting hit specifically? Rabbis. And the students of Rabbi Akiva. And who's Rabbi Akiva? The one who said, "V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha." And you know, in the question is even stronger over here on these students.
It was disease or something?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you how they died over here. You're about to say you guys are gonna go, what? How they died such a horrible death? But the question is strong, even stronger. I mean, if a person sees friend R.Shalom passing away, what is he gonna do? Tshuva, right? You do the tshuva. Okay, 1 dies, 2 dies, 100. The first day, 750 died. They did it. Why didn't the rest of them do tshuva?
And why didn't it help?
And even if they did, how come it didn't help? Who said they did? How come I didn't do tshuva? You're seeing your friends passing away, do tshuva. I mean, you go to if you ever learned in a yeshiva, if one guy, I remember one time, I had a cup of water in my hands, I took a sip, and I remember I didn't see a bracha. So what I do, I went to the sink, and I spilled out the water. I didn't want to enjoy from the drink without saying a bracha. Right away, 4 guys jumped on top of me. Bal tashchid, bal tashchid, bal. These guys, 750 of them dying. I'm sure somebody over there pointed something out. Hey guys, are we doing something wrong over here or what? How come they didn't do it?
But people know it's making the mistake, students or not?
Not only did they know they were making a mistake,
People don't know about it.
it says the world was, you know what it says? The world was desolate, it was empty, it was black. Because people were like, you know how Bukharians are like, oh, something happened to him. That means that he's
Right away make it
making like something is wrong with him.
Like a doctor.
Suddenly Rabbi Akiva finds that he's the enemy of the people. You're going around telling everybody, you yourself, your students are dying. You're a fake rabbi. You're not a real rabbi. What is this? You're a fake rabbi. How could you do such a thing? How could such a thing happen to you? Isn't that what people say when something happens in somebody's life? Oh, something happened to him because he messed up in that thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened to Rabbi Akiva. He was such a humble guy. The Gemara says in Masechet Ketubot, Rabbi Akiva was so humble that one time one rabbi was learning with him Torah, and he was able to knock out Rabbi Akiva's svara, his logic, and he told him, "You're Rabbi Akiva, that they say your name goes from one end of the world to the other. You're not even worth to be a shepherd of cattle. You don't know any Torah. You're nothing." You know what Rabbi Akiva tells him? He didn't tell him, "No, I'm Rabbi Akiva. I wrote Torah on my student." He says, "You're right. I'm not even worth to." You said you're wrong. I'm not even worth to be a shepherd of sheep. Forget about cattle. Can't be a shepherd of sheep. He was such a humble person. He still. All these things happened to him. To make it end. All these things happened to him. And the Gemara continues, guys. The questions get stronger and stronger. And I'm just gonna tell you guys in advance, the answers might not, make you happy. I mean, these are pretty strong questions over here. It's such a strong question, guys. I mean, whoever learns a little bit about Sfrat HaOmer, he's baffled. Why is he baffled? These days are Chol HaMoed. You know what Chol HaMoed is? They're days of happiness. These are the days the Jews were getting ready to get the Torah. Every day they were getting another level of Kiddusha, another level of Kiddusha. They left Egypt, they were at level 0. They were getting level 10, 20, 30. Like, hold on, you should be listening to music right now. You should be taking a haircut right now, taking a shave right now. You should be wearing your nice clothes. You should be dancing in the street. Guys, in 40 more days, we're getting the Torah again. And suddenly, this big bang comes to our face and turns these days of happiness into what? Days of Avelut. Unbelievable. I mean, look at guys outside. They're not shaving. They look like the FBI's most wanted. It's crazy. Everybody's with their beards and their hair and their this and their that, And everybody's calling, can I get a heter? Can I get a heter? And you have no idea how many text messages I get a day. Can I get a heter for this? Can I get a heter for that? Can I get it? I'm like, guys, what do you want me to tell you? You know what I'm saying? You can get a heter, but maybe ask somebody else. I don't want to deal with this. What's the question?
Haircut has to do with Avelut or has to do with the Katnut?
Maybe we'll see they're connected. Okay? Now continuing on, so the death of Rabbi Akiva students just popped out of nowhere. Turned these days into very sad days. What's going on over here? And what does the Gemara say? The Gemara continues.
So this began on the second day of Pesach?
This began on the second day of Pesach. Could you imagine after Helach Ma'aniyah? And it happened out of nowhere, says the Gemara. One day everything was fine. Second day, 750 people? Boom, dead.
What's Katnut? What does that mean?
Okay, we're not going to get into that yet. Let's not jump the gun. Katnut means immaturity. Immaturity. Okay, let's continue. So the world was empty. That means people didn't want to learn Torah. This guy's a fake. Rabbi Akiva is a fake. We don't want to learn Torah from him. If he was a real Talmid Chacham, his students wouldn't die. The world was desolate. Nobody wants to learn Torah. And it's very funny. These are the days where people are supposed to learn even more Torah because we're getting to Shavuot. We're getting to Matan Torah. You should learn more Torah. But the world was getting empty. It was getting black. Amar Rav Chama bar Abba ve'itz Rabbi Chia bar Avin. Rabbi Chia bar Avin, which was considered Arish b'Chabura, his kula metu mitara'ah. They didn't just die a regular death in their sleep. No. They died in a death called askara.
What is it?
What's askara?
Morning.
Sickness?
Where a person gets an infection in his throat and suddenly he can't breathe and he dies by, it's like he's choking himself. It's like person chokes to death.
Everybody say?
Everybody the same death.
Plague.
How people were so smart, very deep in the Torah, and nobody know the secret?
That's exactly what we're asking.
What's the point?
I mean, you and me are asking the same question over here, Tzadik. You understand? It's a very big question. Guys, let's focus. And I'm very sorry to tell this to you guys. The answer might not be so fulfilling. There's many answers, right? But I want to deal with a question. There's an even bigger question. Okay, they died. Right? Am I right? What happened after they died?
They were needed to be buried.
Right, they buried. They made hesped, shmesped. They did all the, it's Chodesh Nisan. We don't do Hesped in Chodesh Nisan.
But the Torah, you're supposed
You
to.
understand?
We're supposed
For the
to.
Torah, you're saying. For these guys,
Yeah, you have to.
do you know not even one sentence in the Gemara is said in their names?
It's crazy.
It's crazy. They just
Vanished.
vanished, disappeared into thin air.
They like never existed.
They like never existed. And the Gemara says over
There's no
here,
names, right, for them also?
no names.
No,
There is one story that's written about them in Tana de Eliyahu. It's not such a clean story, so I'm not gonna say it over. But it's just one small story. It's not even in the Gemara. It's in Tana de Eliyahu. It's a certain kind of midrash. Okay, but if I will tell you one thing inside that story, the story says that one time there was a certain lady. I don't want to say what kind of lady she was. She was looking from her balcony, and she sees a pillar of fire and hundreds and thousands of pillars of fire surrounding him. And she comes closer, she sees Rabbi Akiva sitting in the middle, and 24,000 students surrounding him in circles like a spiral, learning Torah. And for this kind of woman, I don't want to say what kind of woman she was, to see such a kind of thing, these guys must have been really, really holy. I'm not going to tell you the end of the story, but they were on a high level. I mean, they had pillars of fire for the love of God. That means it's an allegory. Their neshama is shown so much. They love Torah. And the Gemara says over here, what happens at the end? They all die. They die. Rabbi Akiva becomes a laughingstock. Nobody wants to learn Torah from him. Nobody wants to learn Torah
He's the
from
cause
him.
of death.
He's the cause of the death. So he goes to Yerushalayim, to the south. Yerushalayim is really the south, you should know that. In the real map of Israel, Yerushalayim is somewhere down south. And he finds 5 more students. That's the key point. You just said the key point over here. He found 5 students that were willing to learn with him. Who are they? Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai, Rabbi Yosef ben Halafta, and Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua.
They respected him.
Do you know how many times is written the name Rabbi Akiva inside the Gemara? Over 150,000 times. It's crazy, right?
It's right now.
Yeah, the name Rabbi Akiva. Do you know how many times Rabbi Shimon is written inside the Gemara? Anytime you see just regular Rabbi Shimon, there's only one Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Every time you see regular Rabbi Yosef, that's the student of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Meir, student of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yehuda, all of Hilchot Shabbat is Rabbi Yehuda. Did you know that? All of her halachot come from these 5 rabbis. And it's amazing that the day they decided to learn from him fell on the calendar the day his students stopped dying. And they were willing to learn from him.
Say that again.
The day his students stopped dying, and then he went to the south to get 5 more students. By the time he found those 5 students,
That's when it's
that was the same day on the calendar,
34th day, right?
on the 34th day of the OMER, which was the day before his students stopped dying. You understand? So it was like, it's like a sign from Hashem. Like, these guys are the real deal, these 5 guys. And these 5 guys are worth 24,000 students, because, I mean, who knows how much, do you know how many more books we would have in the library if it wasn't for their death?
But that also means that not all of them died.
What you're saying, that you think that you're saying that these 5 were left over, you're saying?
They were
No.
new.
There were new
I'm
students.
saying if you said the students stopped dying by
Yeah.
that day,
Mhm.
that means there were more to be died.
they
Mhm.
stopped and
They
then he
stopped
found out.
dying.
They
Which
say,
is
when you
No more
say
than-
stop,
24 died.
That means
no,
there's
no.
more.
The Gemara says not that
Right,
they stopped
right.
dying. They all died out.
So they finished dying on
Yeah,
that
there
day.
Yeah.
was no more. Capiche?
Actually, you're
So
having
what's the bracha here? So what's the good
so
The bracha is that there was 5
Left.
that came new.
that were willing to learn.
Habibi.
You're asking. First of all, you're asking a good
5
question.
were
Your
died,
question is the
24,000.
Ramami Pano's question.
That's actually not
What's
bad.
the? What do you mean they stopped dying? There was nobody left to die. So the Ramami Pano says Rabbi Akiva was also supposed to die. Yeah, he himself was supposed to die on Lag BaOmer. So instead of dancing Amar Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he would be dancing Amar Rabbi Akiva. You understand? So that's what the Ramami Pano. So you're asking good. You're asking good. But what he said before, when he also said that there were 5 students that were willing to learn, that itself was a miracle. Because could you imagine all of a person, like, you would think that he's infected or something. Like, why would I learn from this guy? He's infected. Right? And they still are willing to learn. But the question is, why did they die? And why do we commemorate it?
Why are they mourning?
Why are we mourning? How many years has it been? It's been close to 1,500 years since they're
Even
dead.
then, we don't
Khalas,
even
must speak already.
even then, let's just say they died even a year ago, hypothetically speaking. We have nothing of their Torah left anyway.
Not only do we have nothing of their Torah left, if it wasn't for these 3 lines in the Gemara, you wouldn't even know they existed.
Right.
And who learns Tana Devei Eliyahu? Right? They wouldn't even know they existed. So that why do I have to go outside with looking like a menuvel during this? We're supposed to be Chol Moed. Does it make sense? You know what the Ari says these days are? From the beginning of Pesach till Shavuot, you're in a different world. You were transported. You didn't see. It's like you're in an elevator with no windows. We have been transported to a different world. You're not living in the same world in these 49 days. And on Shavuot, you're being transported to a different division. It's crazy. You're in a different world right now. You just don't see it because it's like you're in an elevator without windows. You guys are not going to tell what I said, but I'm just going to say it anyways. You're in the world of Akva Abiyah de Chesed. You are in days of Chesed. And what happens in these days of Chesed? Din, Gevurah, death, no shaving, no music. So hard to live without music today, you know? Everybody's in a state of, how many of us cheat on the way to work? This, that. Not all of us. You understand? It's hard, it's tough. And Goyish music is an avera within itself. We're not talking about those guys. Okay? And it's tough. How are we supposed to explain this? It's Avelut Yeshana. Tisha B'Av, they say it's Avelut Yeshana. It's an old Avelus. So why do I have to commemorate this? And my question today, I had a bigger question. Avelut, when a person is an Avel, what are the things he's not allowed to do? He cannot be with his wife. He cannot take a shower.
Can't sit on a chair.
Yes, Avel, the tough days, right?
Can't sit on the chair.
You can't sit on a chair. You can't sit on a high thing.
Say,
You can't
Say hello.
You can't take a haircut. You can't say hello. Yes, for 7 days. You cannot, huh? You can't learn Torah. You can't learn Torah for 7 days.
You're not.
You're not allowed.
Until the first day.
No, first day
Be
you don't
Ariel,
put
come
tefillin.
on. You don't put on tefillin on the first day. So many. You can't wear laundered clothing. You can't go to work. How come specifically, out of all the Avelut, which 2 did they pick to commemorate these rabbis?
Haircut, shape.
You can't.
Music.
Tisporet. Shulchan Aruch doesn't say music. He says Asur lisa isha. You cannot get married. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says. You can't get married. I mean, huh? Yeah, these days you can't get till the 34th day of the OMER for Sfaradim and 33rd for the Ashkenazim. You can't get married unless it's like a very, very crazy case, like the rabbis will give a heter.
What about bar mitzvah?
Bar mitzvah, you do a mitzvah without music. You want to do a party without music?
Kumbaya.
Okay, yeah, kumbaya. You understand? What do you guys think? It's a good question, no?
Yeah.
I mean,
What was the question?
I think the rabbis think I can take a shower. I mean, imagine us 34 days without a shower.
It's deeper than the rabbis
Okay.
itself. The hair has to do with Sifrat HaOmer.
The hair, you're trying to give me a Kabbalistic answer, but we're not on that level yet. I mean, we hold salt when we say Sfrat HaOmer. It doesn't mean that we're Kabbalistic over here. Okay? So I'm gonna give you a chidush. The truth is, you guys are right. We're not mourning them. We have no connection to these rabbis. Absolutely no connection. We don't have their Torah. We don't have anything. We don't even know their names. Who knows what kind of names they had?
Not even one.
Hmm?
Not even one.
Not even one. We have no connection to them whatsoever. So the Gemara says, "No nagu kavod ze lazeh." I want to be connected to such people. I mean, God should forgive us, but
But we are connected to R.AKIVA to them.
yeah, through
We
R.AKIVA.
have no connection, so what's the
point?
Yes, isn't that a good question?
What's the point?
What's the point? We're not mourning them.
And then,
We're mourning
The Torah that we lost.
the loss of their Torah. And that's why specifically they died in these days. On the days that we're getting ready to get the Torah, it's like a person, he's engaged. You're engaged, your wedding is in a month. Don't think you sealed the deal yet. You didn't seal the deal until you put the ring on her finger. And that's why specifically, what do we do to commemorate their deaths? We don't get married. And in a marriage, what makes the marriage? The music. We don't listen to music. When we got the Torah, we were married to Hashem. We lost their Torah, so therefore you can't get married. We're not allowed to get a haircut. How do you say haircut in Hebrew? Tisporet. Tisporet is otiyot sefer Torah. Did you guys hear that? Just came up with it today.
Exactly.
It's a free. It's a chidush just out of the oven. It's a fresh chidush. Tisporet haircut in Hebrew. Tisporet sefer Torah. And what do we do when we see a sefer Torah, guys? What do? We give kavod la Torah. What did they do? They didn't give kavod zelazeh.
to each other.
Yes, they were living sefer Torahs, but they missed the point. If you go inside a shul, inside a bet midrash, and you don't have respect for one another, if you don't have midot tovot, then your Torah is not worth anything. And that was the test of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva's test was if he was going to give up or not. This was his point in life. People think that his major test was to leave everything and go to learn Torah. That wasn't his test. That was easy for him. Do you know what was his test? At this moment of his life, should he give up or not? He could have just hid in the mountains and done his thing for the rest of his life. But what did he do? A great man never gives up. He went down to where? He went south. Yeah, why come the Gemara doesn't say he went to Yerushalayim? Say he went to Yerushalayim. What do you mean he went south?
He went down?
He went down in his spirituality. And right when he was in his lowest point, guys, I'm going to give you another chidush. He finds 5 students. First one is Rabbi Meir. What's the first letter of his name? Mem. Second one is who? Rabbi Shimon.
Shin.
Shin. Next one, you have Rabbi Yehuda. What is that? Yud. And the fourth one is Rabbi Yosei. We already have a Yud. What's his father's name? Chalafta. That's a Chet. Mashiach. Who does he find in the south? When you lose everything, and you think that you just had the greatest tragedy that happened to you. This is the guy that says you shouldn't have kids at the end of your life. You should have students at the end of your life. Who does he lose? All of his students. He finds 5 students, and 4 of them spell out Mashiach.
How about the 5th one?
The 5th one is higher. It's the letter Aleph. It's the first letter of the Aseret Hadibrot. Rabbi Elazar. Could you imagine who he found over there?
Gold mine.
He found Torah. Again, he was like a young man again. And how come those students died, those other students? They didn't give kavod to one another? They didn't give enough kavod to one another.
Not enough.
Not enough kavod.
But who was to
You
say that they
know,
lost the
I
Torah?
came up with another chidush, with your permission. It's not Shabbat today, but it's for OMER. It's almost like Shabbat. Came up with another chidush. What does it mean I didn't respect one another enough? I once heard a shiur by Eli Mansour. He was giving his whole shiur. They were Tanaim, Amorai. They were great tzaddikim. They gave kavod. They didn't give enough kavod. So I said, let me take this a step further. What does that mean they didn't give enough kavod to one another? This is a beautiful thought, Abotai. It's a beautiful thought. A person that learns Torah with another person, it's hard for him to accept another person's opinion. If I say the halacha is ABC and another person comes and says the halacha is ZXY, it's hard for me to accept it. If somebody's going to ask me the halacha, what am I going to say the halacha is? A, B, C! And they just said, but their other rabbi said X, Y, W. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But when I see him, I'm like, my friend, Achov, Muchi. They gave kavod for one another. You think they wouldn't get up when they see their friends? You crazy? It's mitzvah taseh min Torah. You must stand up when you see your friend. There's a Talmid Chacham. Even if a boy is 9 years old and he's a Talmid Chacham, stand up for him. Rabbi Salman Mutzarfi used to sit by the door. You know why by the door? Every time a person would walk in Talmid Chacham, he would stand up. He should be the first one to stand up for him. But they didn't accept each other's Torah.
Ego.
They couldn't. It's more than ego. It's not ego. Ego is I can't accept you at all. I don't see you. I'm not sofer otcha. I don't count you. Sfrat OMER. I'm not sofer otcha. I don't count you. They had respect for each other, but they couldn't accept each other's Torah.
Why? It was different teacher?
Same teacher, but one teacher. 24,000 brains. Imagine how many Torahs is over there. How many different ways of understanding. He had 5 students, R.AKIVA, at the end. Out of those 5 students, you have all the Talmud. Imagine if you would have 24,000. You wouldn't have a Talmud. You would have you would have a library. You would have a library.
But by himself, he cannot fix it.
Who, R.AKIVA?
Yeah.
No.
He have a lot of power.
The Rebbe never writes anything down. The student writes for him. When you can't accept your friend's Torah, and this is why the halacha is like Beit Hillel, not like Beit Shammai. Beit Hillel was the opposite of that. Every time they would ask them, what's the halacha? What would they tell the person? Beit Shammai says the halacha is like this, and we say the halacha is like this. Who would they put first? Beit Shammai, they're competitors. It's unbelievable. They weren't like this. They would put each other first. And what's amazing over here, how many students died? 24,000. How many books of the Torah are there? 24. 24 books of the Torah. 1,000 students died for every book. For every book. And how did they die? From their choke, from their throat. Why from their throat? Where do you learn Torah from? You learn it from your throat. The voice comes out of your throat. Hashem said, I'm going to stop that throat. I'm going to close it.
So how are they connected to the Medaglim? The 24,000 people who died in the desert.
Now you're already bringing me a Kabbalistic concept of reincarnations. The Ari HaKadosh says that they were really the reincarnation of 24,000 tribesmen of Shimon. Yes, that's true. But we're looking at it at not in the esoteric level, but in the pshat level. Because there's so much to learn the pshat! And I'm going to tell you guys something it's a chidush. It's not a chidush, but for me it's a chidush. Every time we have a holiday, for example, I'm going to give you an example. It's something to do with husband and wife. Every time a person gets married, what's the most important date for the next 120 years of his life? He got it right off the bat. Your anniversary. Dir balak if you forget your anniversary. Hashem Yerachem. Anishmotenu v'anishmot nishmotenu anishmot nishmot nishmotenu. If a person forgets the anniversary, Kaddish yesh lama. Kaddish yesh lama. So, why come anniversary is such a special day? So I'll teach you guys. On the day, it's true by the way, on the day of your anniversary, you get married all over again.
Again?
Yeah. You get married all over again. What do I mean by that? On the day that you get married, in Shamayim, see, let's say I got married on the 1st of Nisan. Forever in my life, the 1st of Nisan, I left a stamp on that day, that day is special for me and my wife. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, if you miss your wife's birthday, she'll make a big deal. But if you miss her anniversary, because and that day of your anniversary, there's a special yiratzon you could say to Hashem that Hashem should renew your marriage. Yeah, you should renew your love. Yeah, your spark. You could renew it on that day. Just like we renew our getting of the Torah on the day of Shavuot, we could renew your marriage spark on the day of your anniversary, but not your English anniversary. That's what people make a mistake. You gotta find out the Jewish one.
Look at your
You understand what I'm saying? Look at your ketuvah. If you don't have one, you can come to me. I'll check it up for you. It's okay. For free.
That's not like.
Now, on, on the day of Sefirat HaOmer, these days, these 49 days, especially the first 34 days, these days, since the students died, and they died because they didn't give kavod to one another, these 34 days have a special power that if you try during these 34 days to make up with somebody in your past that you fought with, or you had a fight with somebody, or you're just a very fighting person. You're John Ganos. You're an instigator. This at 34 days, you have special siyata deshmaya to work on yourself. Because the same power awakens up. Just like on Pesach, they say, oh, it's like we just got out of Egypt. Well, because that day, it left a mark on that day of the calendar for the rest of the world. So too, these 34 days, you have a special power, guys, to work on yourselves, to have ahavat chinam. Not sinat chinam, but ahavat chinam. Right before we get the Torah. Right before we get the Torah. And not only that, if you're going to work on yourself these 34 days and try your best, when you get to Lag BaOmer, Lag is the 33rd day. If you put the Gimel in front of the Lamed, what do you get? Gal. In Hebrew, modern Hebrew, what's a Gal?
Wave.
It's a wave. But really, in ancient Hebrew, Lashon HaKodesh, Gal means to uncover. There's a pasuk in the Torah that says, Gal enai ve'abita niflaot mitoratecha. Uncover my eyes to see the beauty inside your Torah. You have the ability on Lag BaOmer to reach tremendous heights. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Kever Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Lag BaOmer.
Oh.
I've been there once. It's
Bazaar.
huh? Once I've been there. It's something you're never gonna forget. You feel like such a ha'arat kedusha. Like this day, it's like I think it's over 300,000 people come to visit the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai School
Where he buried?
in Meron.
I was there.
Where you get
So
the heavens.
space over there?
Yeah, it's all 300,000 people come.
It's crazy. It's fact.
Yeah, they sleep over there. They get camping bags and they sleep on the mats, freezing over there. There's a special ha'ara, a special power in the air.
I was there.
It's not just like the day comes and das vidanya. There's a special power in the air. You just have to uncover your eyes. Okay? Now, before we're gonna finish, I want to tell you guys another chidush of the Ari HaKadosh. Another chidush of the Ari HaKadosh. This is what my brother over here, he said in the beginning. He said a very esoteric concept. So why did they specifically die during these days? So we had the Kabbalistic that Rav Daniel said over here, because they're the reincarnations of the tribesmen of Shimon that died in the Megillah when Zimri was with a non-Jewish woman. There's another reason they specifically died during this time. The days between Pesach and Shavuot, these 50 days, they're called in Kabbalistic vernacular Yemei Katnut. What's Yemei Katnut? When a person is born, first he starts off as a baby, then a toddler. From a toddler he gets to a young man, to an adolescent, to a teenager, to a young adult, to an adult. Then he starts to go down. He gets older, then he gets to old man, and so on and so on, till they tell him, Kaddish al Yisrael. Your life follows the same pattern. It's in the air. When Pesach comes, the world starts again. Starting from the second day of Pesach, the world becomes immature. It becomes katan, katnut. It's a very deep Kabbalistic concept. The world grows up. For 49 days, it grows until it hits Shavuot. On Shavuot, we stay up all night. Why do we stay up all night? Let's say a person, he's 9 years old. Gemara says when you're 9 years old, you could already start having kids. You have the power inside you to have kids from the age of 9. That's what the Gemara says. Now, let's say that a 9-year-old has a son. Lo aleinu, lo alam Yisrael. Maybe in Saudi Arabia. So he has a son, and suddenly the baby starts to cry in the middle of the night. He's going to wake up in the middle of the night. Could a 9-year-old boy wake up in the middle? 20-year-old can't wake up in the middle of the night. A 9-year-old is going to wake up in the middle of the night? He can't wake up. He's going to sleep for another 2 days. He's going to sleep. Why? Because he's still immature. His brain hasn't cooked yet. Hasn't ripened yet. When could a person start waking up? Middle of the night? He's ripened. He's a young man. He works. He has responsibility. During these 49 days, the R.AKIVA says over here, Kaf HaChaim brings this down, the world is in a state of immaturity. Pay attention. If somebody gets on your nerves during these 49 days, it's easier to snap.
Oh yeah.
Specifically during these 49 days. Person gets you angry, specifically during these days, I want to get angry back. During these 49 days, lots of tragedies happen in Am Yisrael. Because the world is in a state of immaturity until you hit Shavuot. And when a boy, for example, when do we give him a haircut? When he's 3 years old. So the Ari says, so too during these days, you're not allowed to cut your hair. Why do women cover their hair? Because they reach a state of gadlut. Their state of gadlut is always mixed with state of katnut. So therefore the hair resembles that. They always have to cover it. Okay? It has a certain attraction to it. Okay, they have to cover it all the time. So the Ari says, you know why these guys died specifically now? Since they didn't respect one another, and specifically during this time there is a huge midat adin. It's out to get you. It hit them specifically now. It wiped them all out in one shot. Over 750 in one day. And he says this is the reason why you want to get saved from this. Right when it gets Tzeta Kochavim, don't wait, guys.
Really? We shouldn't wait?
Don't wait. Tzeta Kochavim, pray Aravit,
Okay.
and right away say Sefirat HaOmer. That's why the R.AKIVA, the Rashash says, on the second night of the Omer is what? First day of the Omer is what?
Second night.
Second night, the second Seder for us. What should we do first? The Seder or the Sefirat HaOmer? Rashash says first day of the Omer. The Seder could wait. The most important thing now is what? The Omer. Mekubalim don't sleep with their wives for the first 7 days of the Omer. Why? Because Chas v'Shalom, their wives will get pregnant during this time. The child that's going to come down is going to be like Esav, Chas v'Shalom. So what do? They wait 7 days. Some wait the first 2 days. There's a lot of secrets in the Omer. Now I'm telling you another secret. I'm going to end with this, another chidush, because I already started the chidushim. I'm going to end up with one last chidush. These days of the Omer, we're not allowed to listen to music, and we're not allowed to get haircuts.
How about women?
How did we get the Torah? Women are. They're not allowed to music, they're allowed to get haircuts. How did we get the Torah? By who? What was his name? Moshe Rabbeinu. What tribe was he from? Levi. Leviim do what?
Sing.
They sing. And what do? The first time they became Leviim, they had to shave off all their heads. Before you could get the Torah by a Levi, first you have to grow your hair and stop listening to music. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.